Welcome back. The Motor Vehicle Accident Fund has, with great concern, observed an increase in pedestrian-related crashes. These incidents highlight the shared responsibility between pedestrians and drivers ensuring road safety. Now, to help us understand the causes behind this increase and explore potential solutions, I'm now joined by Mr. John Haufiku of the MVA. Mr. Haufiku, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us here on the Daily Roundup.
Hey, good evening, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
To start with, perhaps you can talk to us about some of the recent statistics that have highlighted this rise in pedestrian-related crashes.
Yeah, well, I think the major concern for us that we are basically trying to create an alarm on is the fatalities that have surged by 22% this year when we compare them to a similar period from last year. We had about 54 fatalities around the same period, and right now it's already at 66 and counting. So we're quite concerned about this number, not just because it's an increase in deaths, but at the rate at which it is happening, it is quite concerning. The implications obviously are quite wide, and what isn't discussed and actually highlighted enough is that everybody using the road at some point is a pedestrian. So this means if we are having high crashes among pedestrians, it means everybody is at risk, not just the pedestrians, but drivers as well, because at some point you have to stop the vehicle and get out of it. At that point, you become a pedestrian yourself. So we are really, really concerned about this, and the main reason really is that what we have seen with these pedestrian crashes is that they are often fatal. If they are not fatal, they result in a serious injury where somebody ends up either paralyzed from the waist down, in a vegetative state, or can move their neck upwards. So these are really some of the concerns, that crashes with pedestrians are really high risk in terms of survival and in terms of recovery and quality of life subsequently. And this is happening, and obviously under the radar of so many other things. There are so many other types of crashes, but this category overall, when we look at all the crashes that happen, it usually accounts for above 30%. I think last year it was around 32, and this year it's hovering around 32 and 33 already. So it's a significant part of the crashes that happen, and it's really one of the categories that we as the MVA Fund would like to see drastically reduced. But obviously this, for that to happen, this has to be a concerted effort between all road users, as well as us, the road safety.
Mr. Haufiku, let me just interject there. I want to go back to the 22% that you made reference to and the comparative figures over a period of time. So what time frame are we looking at here? Are we looking from the beginning of the year, from January to now? Just clarify that for us, please.
We're talking about year to date. So we're saying from January the 1st up to the 6th of May, which was yesterday, we've had 66 people die as a consequence of a road crash. And not just any crash, but it is a specific kind of crash where a vehicle is running over somebody who is not in a vehicle.
What are the
this is really our concern.
What are the primary causes behind pedestrian accidents, in your own view? Are there any, specific locations, conditions or times where pedestrians become more vulnerable to accidents?
So there are. So obviously what I'm going to say now is not entirely conclusive, but the information we have before us paints a certain picture. And the picture it paints in terms of, if we look at major causes right now from the data we have, the major cause is pedestrians running across the road. And obviously the details of how it happened are usually murky, but what we can establish is that a large part of these crashes is a pedestrian that is running, attempting to cross the road when this crash happens. So we can say that perhaps a focus on our side as road safety stakeholders is to zoom in on the pedestrians and see how we can educate them, create awareness so that they can stop trying to run across or cross the road at areas that are not designated for crossing. But of course, that is just the tip of the problem, and I wouldn't want to create the impression that that is the only problem. We also have isolated incidents where drivers are not stopping for pedestrians. Even that, in fact, we were talking the other day, again, this is still heuristic, but we found that you are more likely to be hit trying to cross it at a pedestrian crossing than anywhere else, because pedestrians believe, some of them, that the cars will stop, yield for them, but many cars, what we've observed, don't yield for pedestrians, even at pedestrian crossings. So, and that risk already tells you that I think the behavior of the drivers themselves also needs adjustments, because we have picked up on, even though, again, not conclusive and not significant data to confirm this, but we have seen that there have been cases where drivers are speeding in residential areas where there are, road marks for yielding to pedestrians, or where a lot of pedestrians use that road, and they are driving way above that limit. And we've also had few incidences of driving under the influence of alcohol, as well as instances where the vehicle had some mechanical fault that might be attributed to the accident. So all of these are contributing factors, but to be honest, in terms of the research to determine cause and effect, we can't speak from that perspective. Right now, we are just sharing the heuristic data that we have before us, but we can't really talk about cause and effect. And that's why right now our focus is really to intensify our public education campaign, create awareness, educate people, but definitely look at the more scientific approach of getting to the root cause of some of the issues.
Speak to us just very briefly about the intensified public education campaign. We are running out of time, so I just want to know what that will entail, because I understand it's, of course, as a response to these increased figures in pedestrian accidents, and the campaign is kicking off today. So what will it briefly entail?
Yeah, so basically the fund started yesterday already, and we had a media press conference today just to highlight the problem. But what is going to happen moving forward is sustained engagement with the public on mass media platforms, as well as physical activations in the high crash regions. So a lot of the regions where we have experienced this problem is that Commerce is among one of those regions. Our Hangwena region is also there. And then we have Umusati, as well as Zambezi and Kavango West. These are the predominant geographical areas where these crashes are happening. And the idea is to have activations, have our public education officers engage in those areas, of course, with the help of law enforcement. So we'll be sharing that schedule with the media, and we hope that all media houses that are available during those periods can really join us to amplify this message.
Mr. Haufiku, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us this evening.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
When we come back after this brief break, our conversations do continue. Stay with us.